A 60-degree temperature spread is ripping the United States in half on this Tuesday, February 4th. Phoenix is cruising at 70, while Pittsburgh can barely crack 30. And two back-to-back Arctic blasts are about to crank this whole situation up to 11. On top of that, an Alberta clipper is going to come screaming out of Canada by Friday with 1 to 3 inches of snow for a dozen states. Visibility could drop under a quarter mile in minutes from snow squalls, and wind chills are set to nosedive 15 to 20 below zero throughout the Northeast by Sunday. But here's what really has me glued to the models at 2 in the morning. There's a massive pattern flip building around mid-February. And for 5 straight runs now, both the GFS and the Euro are flagging what could become a significant storm system right around February 13th through the 16th. Valentine's Day weekend could get real interesting real fast. Drop your city and state in the comments because I'm running through more than 80 cities today, and I need to know where you're tuning in from so I don't skip your spot. All right, let me break down what's happening as of this morning because the numbers are kind of wild. We've got a massive cold front stretching from South Texas all the way up into New England, and temps have already cratered 10 to 15 degrees across most of the east. The Ohio Valley and the Southeast are running 10 to 20 degrees below average as we speak. Winter weather advisories are lit up across parts of New York, North Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. Meanwhile, out west and over the Great Plains, it's a completely different universe. The Dakotas and California are above average, and some of those areas haven't seen a single drop of rain or flake of snow in over a month. That contrast is the engine driving everything we're about to cover. Warm air stacking on one side and frigid Arctic air pouring down on the other. Mother Nature is basically having a full-blown argument with herself. I pulled up the Euro, the GFS, and the Canadian guidance this morning, and they're all locking on to the same two-phase setup, which makes me feel pretty confident about where this is headed. Phase 1 is already rolling, a cold front with light snow pushing across Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and the Carolinas. Nothing apocalyptic, but enough to turn your evening commute into a slip and slide. And yo, check this out. The same system dropping snow on its backside actually spawned a tornado in southeast Texas yesterday near Houston in Liberty County. 2 tornado warnings in one day in February. That's wild. Phase 2 is the main event, and that's the Alberta Clipper arriving late Thursday into Friday. It's bringing a much more widespread shot of snow, and then a brutal blast of Arctic air slams the door shut right behind it. So yeah, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy week. Let's get right into the cities, starting with the spots catching snow as I record this. Cincinnati, you're in the thick of it. High of 30 to 34 with 1 to 2 inches and an advisory up. Watch those bridges over the river tonight. Columbus at 28 to 32 with 1 to 2 inches on the way. Cleveland at 26 to 30 with 1 to 3 inches, and that lake effect enhancement could stack totals way beyond what the main forecast is calling for. Indianapolis at 28 to 32 with up to 2 inches possible. And I'm telling you, these sneaky little systems are the ones that always catch people slipping on the evening commute. Don't be that person tonight. Louisville at 32 to 36 with an advisory posted and 1 to 2 inches expected. Lexington at 30 to 34. That whole I-64 corridor from Louisville through Charleston, West Virginia is going to be a mess overnight. Pittsburgh at 30 to 34 with 1 to 2 inches and gusty winds layered on top. Steel City roads are going to be dicey, so give yourself extra time. Maybe grab a coffee for the slow crawl home. Chicago at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3 inches and wind chills making it feel well below zero. The Windy City earning its name today in the worst possible way. Stay bundled up out there. Detroit at 25 to 30 with 1 to 3 inches, and Great Lakes enhancement could pile it up overnight. Grand Rapids at 25 to 28 with an advisory posted and dealing with that same lake effect headache. Milwaukee at 25 to 28 with 1 to 2 inches. Madison at 24 to 28 with light snow, and the kind of wind chill that makes you question every life decision that brought you to Wisconsin in February. Minneapolis at 22 to 26 with flurries and a feels like in single digits, At that level, frostbite on exposed skin sets in under 15 minutes, and that is a medical fact, not a figure of speech. Toledo at 26 to 30 with 1 to 2 inches. Fort Wayne, same range. Omaha at 28 to 32 with possible snow. Kansas City at 30 to 35. St. Louis at 32 to 36. And Wichita at 32 to 36. The entire heartland is locked in a deep freeze, and it is not letting go anytime soon. Anybody already seeing flakes falling where you are? Drop it in the comments, because I want to see how this lines up with what the guidance showed me this morning. Shifting up to the northeast, New York City at 30 to 35 with light flurries and up to 2 inches possible across all 5 boroughs. Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island, Manhattan. Wind chill is going to make it feel way worse than the thermometer says. Boston at 30 to 34 with flurries and wind chills that smack you in the face the second you step outside. Lows dropping to 20 to 24 tonight. Layer up or suffer. Those are your 2 options. Philly at 32 to 36 with a winter advisory and up to 2 inches. DC at 32 to 36. Baltimore, same story. The entire Mid-Atlantic corridor from Richmond up through Jersey is getting clipped tonight and into tomorrow. Newark and Jersey City both at 30 to 34 with travel delays expected. If you're doing that I-95 commute tomorrow morning, do yourself a favor and leave at least 30 minutes early. Buffalo at 25 to 30, and honestly, Buffalo doesn't even flinch at numbers like that. But lake effect stacked on top of clipper snow is a nasty combo even for y'all. Syracuse at 26 to 30 with 1 to 3 inches. Now peep this, because this stat blew my mind. Detroit sitting at 25 degrees and Miami pushing 78. That's a 53-degree spread across one country. 53 degrees. Let that sink in for a second. That temperature gradient is the fuel behind every storm system we keep seeing. The atmosphere is desperately trying to balance itself out. And spoiler alert, it ain't even close to finished. DMV crew, Washington, D.C. at 32 to 36. I know a lot of you are sick of this cold. Good news is a warm-up is coming early next week, but the bad news is what comes after that warm-up might hit even harder. Take a breath. We're about a third of the way through the cities. How we doing in the comments? Has your city popped up yet, or are you still waiting? All right, let's head down to the southeast and the Carolinas, because this is where tonight's forecast gets low-key tricky. Winter weather advisories are posted across a big chunk of North Carolina and parts of southeast Virginia. Raleigh at 45 to 48 with trace flurries possible tonight as cold air wraps in. Durham at 45 to 48, same deal. Greensboro and Winston-Salem both at 45. The whole Piedmont region is in play here. Charlotte at 45 to 50 with trace snow possible, and this system has the potential to surprise some folks. Both the HRRR and the RRFS high-res runs are showing banding features setting up in this area. Virginia Beach at 38 to 42 with light flurries. Norfolk could see wet snow mixing in tonight, especially if cold air damming sets up along the Blue Ridge and shoves that cold air eastward faster than expected. That cold air damming process is sneaky. Arctic air gets trapped against the mountains and undercuts the warmer air at the surface. And when that happens, precipitation types can flip from rain to snow real quick through the Piedmont. I could see someone in western North Carolina getting a quick inch or two where they're only forecasting a dusting. These overachievement events have happened before in this exact setup, and the high-res data supports it. Atlanta at 50 to 55, no snow but still running colder than normal. Nashville at 45 to 50, and Memphis at 48 to 52, catching a breather. The Southeast is finally getting a break after a pretty rough stretch. Montgomery at 55 to 60, Jackson, Mississippi at 55, New Orleans at 60 to 65, the Deep South warming up, but still not where it should be temperature-wise for early February. Shout out to Asheville, Johnson City, and the Tri-Cities area. Both high-res models are flagging enhanced snow banding in your zone tonight, and I think y'all could end up being the overachievers of this entire event. Somebody in the Carolinas commented yesterday asking if winter was done for them. And looking at these runs, the answer is a hard no. Mid-February is shaping up to change the whole game down south. What part of the country are you most worried about heading into this weekend? Drop it below so I can make sure to dig deeper on those areas in tomorrow's update. Now, Florida, oh man, what a roller coaster this winter has been for you guys. Miami bouncing back to 75 to 78 with sunshine, and that is a far cry from those freeze warnings you were dealing with like a week ago. Tampa at 70 to 74, Orlando at 74, Jacksonville at 65, the Sunshine State finally earning its name again. Your closet cannot keep up with these temperature swings. Winter jacket Monday, tank top Wednesday. St. Petersburg at 70, Hialeah at 75. If you're in South Florida, enjoy it because you earned it. After what January put you through, soak in every bit of that 75 and sunny. Texas, you're looking solid. Houston at 60 to 65. Dallas and Fort Worth both at 55 to 60. San Antonio and Austin around 60 to 65. El Paso at 60, cruising along with no weather drama for once. OKC at 45 to 50, Tulsa at 45. And for my Arlington and Garland people, since you request those cities every single video, both setting at 55 to 60, I got you. Corpus Christi at 65 to 68, Laredo at 65. Gulf Coast warm and dry. Enjoy it now because that mid-February pattern flip could bring thunderstorms and potentially severe weather roaring back all over the deep south. And here's a wild detail. That same low pressure giving us snow up north spawned 2 tornado warnings near Houston yesterday in Liberty County. Winter tornadoes in Texas. February really said, hold my beer. Get this, OKC at 50 and Minneapolis at 22. Those cities are only 800 miles apart with nearly a 30-degree gap. That boundary line is exactly where the atmosphere goes haywire and the next round of storms will fire up. Warm side meets cold side and chaos follows every single time. Flipping out west, and I swear it's like a completely different planet over there compared to what the eastern half is going through. Total opposite energy. LA at 65 to 70, San Diego at 65, Phoenix at 70, Vegas at 60. The Southwest is just living its best life while half the country is out here layering up like the Michelin Man. Bay Area crew, San Francisco at 60, San Jose at 65, Oakland at 60. And here's the thing, the Bay hasn't seen measurable rain in weeks. That ridge blocking everything is the same ridge causing all the chaos back east. Seattle at 48 to 52 with rain. Portland at 50 with rain. Classic Pacific Northwest February vibes. The Cascades are stacking up mountain snow, though, which is clutch for summer water supply. Arizona City, since you blow up my comments asking for these. Scottsdale, Mesa, Chandler, Glendale, all at 70. SoCal, Riverside, Irvine, Anaheim, Santa Ana, all mid-60s. But don't get too comfortable because the mid-month pattern shift could finally break that ridge and bring you some weather too. Quick hits for the rest. Denver at 35 to 40 with possible light snow. Aurora, same deal. Colorado Springs at 35. Boise at 40. Reno at 42 to 46. Albuquerque at 45. Spokane at 40. Anchorage at 20 to 25 with 1 to 3 inches of snow and wind warnings because Alaska just does its own thing. And Honolulu at 80 with tropical showers. Somebody's got to hold it down in paradise, I guess. That covers all 80 plus cities. If I missed yours, throw it in the comments and I'll grab it first thing in tomorrow's update. I read every single one of them, no cap. So just to recap the insanity, Honolulu at 80, Miami at 78, Minneapolis at 22, Anchorage at 25. That's nearly a 60-degree gap coast to coast. And that kind of gradient is the textbook recipe for monster storms. Now let me slow down for a second because we need to talk about what's coming this weekend and into next week. This is where things go from annoying cold to genuinely dangerous. So let me paint the big picture real quick because once you see how this pattern works, every piece of the forecast clicks into place. Imagine the country split down the middle with a massive ridge of high pressure parked over the west, pumping warm Pacific air inland. That ridge acts like a brick wall, and it forces Arctic air to funnel straight down over the eastern half, through what meteorologists call a split jet stream. One branch goes north, one goes south, and we're stuck in the cold lane. That split flow is exactly why we keep getting hit with clipper after clipper diving out of Canada, each one bringing a fresh shot of cold and snow. It's like a conveyor belt of misery for anybody east of the Mississippi. On the west side of that ridge, they haven't seen significant precipitation in weeks. Ski resorts in the Rockies are hurting. Meanwhile, the east is under a fire hose of cold and moisture. This setup is locked in for at least another 7 to 10 days. And one more piece of this puzzle. When these clippers dive through, they create aggressive northwest flow over the Appalachians. That's what drives the enhanced snowfall across West Virginia into Southwest Virginia and the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina. Wednesday is going to be the quietest day of the entire week. Think of it as the calm before the storm. If you got errands, grocery runs, or anything outdoors, tomorrow is your window. Full stop. Because late Thursday into Friday, that Alberta Clipper comes barreling down from Canada. And this one has real teeth. The runs have been remarkably consistent on this track for days, which gives me high confidence in the setup. It starts with snowfall spreading across the Great Lakes late Thursday. By early Friday morning, it broadens out into Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and eventually the Northeast. Most of the accumulation will be on the lighter side, but here's where it gets dicey. Snow squalls could fire up Friday across Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, with visibility dropping to near zero in a matter of minutes. Picture this. You're cruising along the highway and suddenly you cannot see the car in front of you. That's what snow squalls do. They hit fast, they hit hard, and they don't give you time to react. The Appalachians could pick up a few inches, especially at higher elevations. And that northwest flow enhancement we talked about earlier is what could push totals higher over the mountains of West Virginia and Southwest Virginia. By Saturday morning, the snow shifts into New England, and here's a fun timing wrinkle. The Super Bowl is Sunday. So if you were planning a watch party anywhere from the Great Lakes to the Northeast, factor in the possibility of travel headaches getting there. Nothing ruins a Super Bowl party like being stuck in a ditch on I-90. Just saying. Because after that clipper clears out, a brutal shot of Arctic air drops in behind it. By Sunday morning, areas near Pittsburgh could be running 40 degrees below normal. And that is an extreme departure from average by any measure. Wind chills throughout the Great Lakes and Northeast could push 15 to 20 below zero by Sunday. At those temps, exposed skin is at real risk. Pipes can burst overnight, and your heating bill is about to look like a car payment. If you're anywhere from Chicago to Boston, let me know in the comments how you're prepping for this weekend, because the tips people share in here are legit helpful, and I know a lot of new viewers rely on them. Monday and Tuesday, that cold air lingers across New England where additional snow chances continue. This is not a one-day thing. It's a multi-day siege of winter, and it's going to feel like it drags on forever. Quick safety break, because this matters more than any number I threw at you today. If you're in an area expecting snow and extreme cold this weekend, please hear me out on these. Generators go outside away from windows and doors every time, no exceptions. Carbon monoxide has no smell, no color, and it takes lives every winter. That is not something to play around with. Check on your neighbors, especially anyone older or living alone. A quick phone call or knock on the door could be the difference between someone being okay and someone not being okay. Takes 2 minutes. Keep an emergency kit in your car. Blankets, water, flashlight, phone charger. Because if you get stranded in these temperatures, it goes from inconvenient to dangerous faster than you think. And pets inside, period. If it's too cold for you to stand outside for 10 minutes, it is way too cold for your dog. On a lighter note, my dog heard this forecast and hasn't left the couch since Tuesday. Okay, so the million-dollar question everybody's asking is, when does this cold break? And the good news is there's actually an answer forming on the guidance now. By early next week, all that warm air stacking over the Great Plains pushes further north into Iowa, Illinois, and the Dakotas. Some areas could spike 30 degrees above average practically overnight. We are about to go from record-breaking cold all the way to record-breaking warmth by the middle of February. Temperature whiplash doesn't even begin to describe what this winter has been doing. Quick question for the Midwest crew. Are you more excited about the warm-up or more nervous about what usually follows these February warm spells? Because if you know, you know. Historically, these mid-February warm-ups almost always trigger a much more significant winter threat during the back half of the month. The warm air loads up moisture, and then the next cold shot turns it all into snow or ice. And that is exactly what the data is starting to pick up on. Here's where things get really interesting, and this is the part of the forecast I've been waiting to get to. Multiple model suites are flagging a significant storm signal developing right around Valentine's Day. We're talking roughly February 13th through the 16th. The GFS is showing a strong low pressure system building in the central U.S., with snow breaking out over Missouri, pushing into the Midwest, and eventually becoming a full winter storm as it tracks east. On the Euro side, energy dives down the Rockies and a potential Colorado low starts forming. And if you've never heard that term before, just know that Colorado lows can be absolute monsters. Snow measured in feet on one side, tornadoes on the other. Has anyone been through a Colorado low before? If so, drop your story below, because those things are no joke. And I think a lot of newer viewers don't realize how intense they can get. The GFS run this morning showed what looked like a blizzard developing over the mid-Atlantic and Northeast around mid-month. Now that's way too far out to call a forecast, but it's worth keeping on your radar. On the warm side of that system, dew points are climbing into the upper 50s and 60s all through the deep south. And that's the first real signal that severe weather could return to places like Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. The Euro's thunderstorm index is lighting up all along the Gulf Coast for that same window, so we could be looking at a coast-to-coast event. Winter storm up north, severe weather down south, the full menu. This is the piece that keeps me up checking runs at 2 a.m. If that system tracks even slightly further south, the I-95 corridor from D.C. up to Boston could end up right in the crosshairs for a major winter storm. Now, I want to be straight with you. We're roughly 10 days out, and these things can shift. But the signal keeps showing up run after run across multiple suites, and that consistency is what separates noise from something worth watching. A trough is also potentially dipping into the western U.S. during this period, which could finally break that ridge and bring some much-needed precipitation out west. And the folks in the Rockies would throw a party for that. Late February into early March is looking active across the board. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas. If you live anywhere in that corridor, stay on guard, because winter is not done with us. Not even close. Before I wrap this up, I want to give a quick shout out to this community, because the comment section has been incredible this winter. People sharing live updates from their towns, tagging friends, checking on each other. That's what makes this worth doing every day. All right, here are the 5 things I need on your radar over the next few days. Let's run through them quick. Number 1, tonight's light snow and winter weather event across the Ohio Valley through the Carolinas and Virginia. The HRRR and RRFS high-res runs both show potential for overachievement, so don't sleep on this one. Number 2, Wednesday is the quiet day, so use it wisely. Get errands done, get supplies stocked, because the window closes fast after that. Number 3, the Friday Alberta Clipper, bringing widespread snow from the Great Lakes through the Ohio Valley into the Northeast, with possible snow squalls and near-zero visibility in spots. Number 4, the weekend Arctic blast pushing temps 30 to 40 below normal in parts of Pennsylvania and New England. This could be the coldest stretch of the entire winter, with Super Bowl Sunday right in the middle of it. And number 5, that mid-February storm, signal around Valentine's Day, February 13th through 16th. If that system develops anywhere close to what the runs are hinting at, we could be looking at a major coast-to-coast weather event. That's what I'll be watching on tonight's overnight model runs. If anything shifts, I'll have a full breakdown out first thing tomorrow morning, so you hear it here before anywhere else. Before I go, I want to hear from you. What region should I dive deeper on tomorrow? And real talk, are you done with winter? Or are some of you still out here loving the snow? The debate in the comments has been wild lately. If this forecast helped you out, smash that like button. It makes a huge difference getting these out to more people when we've got dangerous weather on the way. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll catch you first thing tomorrow morning.